Welcome back to Outside Views, where today we are delving into one of the key developments post-Brexit, the potential rewrite of post-Brexit trading arrangements between the UK and the EU. And this time, the focus is on energy. As you may have seen in the news recently, a coalition of European and British energy companies is calling for a radical overhaul of the current trading mechanisms that govern electricity trade between the UK and the EU. Why? Because the current system is seen as suboptimal and risks stifling investment in one of the most critical areas for both the UK and the EU, green energy. Now, let's unpack this. Before Brexit, the UK was part of the EU's internal energy market, a system that allowed electricity to be traded efficiently across the bloc. And this market was important for both sides because it provided certainty for investors, particularly in alternative and green energy projects. But with Brexit, the UK left that internal energy market, and in its place, the Trade and Cooperation Agreement, or TCA, introduced a new mechanism for trading electricity. Unfortunately, the mechanism included in the TCA, known as Multi-Region Loose Volume Coupling, or MRLVC, has never actually been implemented. Why not? It's a technical issue, apparently, with challenges in making the scheme work effectively. But beyond the technical hurdles, the real issue is that the current post-Brexit electricity trading arrangements simply aren't fit for purpose. An open letter from 20 leading green energy companies and pressure groups, including big players like National Grid and interconnector companies in the EU, made this very clear. They warned that the provisions in the TCA create uncertainty that is impeding investment, something that both the UK and the EU desperately need to hit their ambitious green energy targets. In the letter, the signatories called for the energy trading arrangements between the EU and the UK to be radically rewritten to create what they describe a green energy hub in the North Sea. Now, why is the North Sea so important? Well, it's one of Britain's best sources of offshore wind power. As we transition away from fossil fuels, the North Sea is becoming an increasingly critical energy resource for both the UK and the EU. In fact, the EU is pushing hard to increase its use of renewable energy as it looks to reduce its dependence on Russian fossil fuels. The idea of creating a green energy hub in the North Sea isn't just about environmental goals. It's about energy security and ensuring that both the UK and the EU can meet their future energy needs. But the current trading system is standing in the way. The open letter from the energy companies argues that as long as electricity is traded using suboptimal market mechanisms, the potential of the North Sea won't be fully realized. So what's the solution? According to the signatories, the solution is to extend the EU's price coupling mechanism to the UK market. This would make it easier and more efficient to trade electricity between the UK and the EU, helping both sides achieve their energy goals. And here's the interesting part. They say this can be done without reopening the Trade and Cooperation Agreement. Both the UK and the EU have made it clear that they don't want to reopen the TCA, but the energy companies believe this extension of the price coupling mechanism could be achieved within the current framework. It's a pragmatic approach and the one that could unlock billions in green energy investment. But there's more to the story. Earlier this month, UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer visited Brussels to meet with European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen. And this meeting signaled the formal start of what's being described as a reset in relations between the UK and the EU. And energy is a big part of that reset. In a joint statement released on October 2nd, both sides promised to forge a new strategic partnership with a focus on working together on climate change and energy prices. Despite disagreements on other areas such as youth mobility, both the UK and the EU seem to recognize the importance of collaborating on energy. And there's where this push to rewrite the energy trading arrangements comes in. Christian Ruby, the Secretary General of the EU electricity industry body Eurelectric, described the North Sea as a mega power plant that will supply both continental Europe and the British Isles. And he also said it was time to move on from Brexit minimalism and explore mutually beneficial cooperation arrangements between the UK and the EU. And that's a bold statement, and it reflects a growing sentiment that while Brexit may have happened, it's in everyone's best interest to find practical solutions to the challenges it has created. And let's be honest, there are plenty of challenges. Adam Berman, the Deputy Director at Energy UK, one of the organizations that signed the letter, he said the current post-Brexit electricity trading arrangements are not fit for purpose. He warned that these flawed arrangements put the UK and EU's ambitions for the North Sea at risk, and that's a big deal. Both sides have committed to massive offshore wind projects in the North Sea with a target of delivering 300 gigawatts of offshore wind by 2050. That's more than double what's currently planned for the next 2 decades. And these projects are essential if both the UK and the EU are to achieve their climate goals and secure a reliable source of renewable energy for the future. But right now, the lack of clarity on electricity trading rules is holding up investment in offshore wind energy. And Giles Dixon, the chief executive of Wind Europe, another signatory of the letter, emphasized this point, saying that both energy producers and grid operators in the EU and UK are in full agreement on how to solve the problem. So, if everyone agrees on the solution, why hasn't it been implemented? Well, as with many things post-Brexit, it comes down to politics. The current system reflects the EU's concerns that the UK shouldn't be allowed to cherry-pick access to the single market. But as Christian Ruby put it, it's time to move beyond that mindset. Well, it's in his favor, of course. I see that differently. The energy companies believe that a new phase of cooperation between the UK and the EU is needed, one that allows both sides to benefit from the green energy infrastructure that will power the net zero economy of the future. And while there's no quick fix, there's hope that by the end of 2024, we could see a recommendation for further analysis of the current energy trading mechanism. The European Commission has said that it remains committed to implementing the provisions of the TCA, but it has admitted that applying these arrangements has proven more challenging than initially thought. So where does this leave us? The UK and the EU are facing a critical moment when it comes to their post-Brexit energy relationship. On the one hand, there is a clear need for more efficient trading arrangements to unlock the potential of the North Sea's green energy resources. On the other hand, both sides are cautious about reopening all political wounds, and there will be no renegotiating of the TCA itself. But here's the reality. If the UK and the EU are serious about hitting their climate goals, they need to find a way to work together on energy. And that means finding practical solutions to the challenges posed by Brexit. Rewriting the post-Brexit trading arrangements for energy could be the first steps towards a more collaborative future, one where both the UK and the EU can benefit from the vast renewable energy potential of the North Sea. But the call for a radical rewrite of post-Brexit energy trading arrangements highlights the urgent need for both sides to think about what to do and which approach to take. But with the future of green energy on the line, this could be the moment when the UK and the EU finally move beyond a political impasse and work together to create a sustainable and secure energy future. But still, it cannot be allowed that there is a precedent set for cherry picking. So thanks for watching Outside Views, and feel free to share your thoughts in the comments. And as always, stay tuned for more insights into the key issues shaping the post-Brexit landscape. Until next time, and the next video is right here in the end screen.